Let's talk about this new app that a dad is creating. Why, Cornelia?
So if you're a parent, and I'm not a parent, Dina or Megan, we're not parents, but have you ever had a child, your niece, nephew, any other young sibling in your life, not respond to your text messages? You text them something important, hey, I'm not getting a response. So we have a gentleman named Nick Herbert who created an app called Reply ASAP after he got annoyed that his son was ignoring him. Basically, the app, it locks your phone and shuts it down until the kid responds. So it also gives like a notification to say when the child has read the message, and his purpose of this was to nip that in the bud, because apparently this is a thing with teenagers being busy. Oh, I was too busy.
Busy, quote unquote.
I was so busy.
Doing what? Spinning your fidget spinner? Like doing
All right. I can see for a parent with a teen, but in my life, I probably respond immediately to text messages 10% of the time.
But you're legit. But you're grown and you have a car. Like if you like 14, you ain't. You
know why I'm good with you? Because we're on the same schedule. But for other people who text me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm in the middle of a nap, I wake up and I see it and I'm like, oh, I'll get back to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't take it personally when somebody doesn't respond to me right away.
Right.
I have friends who do, and I've had conversations with those friends about the fact that if I don't get back to you, it's not because I don't like you. Like I have a busy life and a crazy schedule because I work these odd shift hours. But I could see from a parent's perspective, like you have the phone because I am paying the bill, I am footing the bill for you, I am expecting you to communicate with me with the little device that I gave to you and you have in your hand, respond to me so I know you're alive. You know,
I get it from a parent's perspective. Go on with your bad self, daddy, and create that app, because when you want to know where your kid's at, what time you need to pick them up at the mall. I don't know, do kids go to the mall anymore? Like, is that a thing?
You know,
I think so.
They do, but not like we used to hang at the mall.
That's where you hung out.
We would go
or
like,
Del Taco.
Just sit.
Like you go and chill.
The
Del Taco right up there.
Go get some Sbarro by the slice.
And I think of it as a respect thing, though, because as a child, if my mom calls me into the kitchen or says something to me, I can't just stare at her in the face and give her a blank stare like, I don't hear what you're saying. I have to respond. I can't ignore her. So when you text, and I'm speaking this, I have a niece and she's 18. When I text you
Auntie Kiki speaking
and you don't respond, to me that's disrespectful.
Sure.
Because I'm not just I have a life. I'm not just texting you like, girl, the palm tree is looking, this so green. Like I'm not doing that. I'm texting you. You need to respond.
But in the defense of some of those kids who have parents who do text that sometimes, like just want to spark up conversation. It's like sometimes
the weather's nice.
Like, have you ever just not like felt like engaging in conversation in that moment, or it's like that's a long text that's gonna take a minute. Like, let me just step back.
But when you're 12, you can't tell me what's too long. Like you're 12.
This is true. We're talking. Yeah,
you're little.
I think that this is smart. I think Daddy will be successful if he charges a couple bucks for the app. Parents will have to, what is it that the kid has to download it so that their phone freezes?
Yeah,
the parent has to download it on their kid's phone.
They have to put it on the kid's phone.
Your phone will freeze if you don't text them. I mean, that's a little like, okay, kids are going to ignore their parents. It's like, I think part of, in the social media world, that's part of the growing process.
Right, because let's think about when we were kids.
You're stripping the freedom a little bit.
I didn't have a phone that my mom could reach me at any hour of the day. There was a lot more trust
when the lights go down on the street.
You didn't have a pager? Did you have a pager?
I didn't have a pager.
I missed
my sister did. But for me, growing up, it was when you get to your friend's house and I need to get a hold of you, I'll call you. Or you call me, and that was kind of how it was. And then I had a lot more freedom as a kid. I know now with social media, there are a lot more concerns because of other things that different variables that come into your life at a different age. But having the parent always have contact with you at every single waking minute, for the parents out there, that wasn't how it was when you were a kid. So it is a little different now. So if your kid is in the middle of hanging out, is watching a movie, think about when you were a kid. Like you weren't calling your parents, hey, yeah, the weather's nice, Mom, I'm in the middle of this movie.
But if they're that busy, they wouldn't be on their phone anyways. So clearly this dad is saying, okay, you're not texting me back, yet you're still hanging out on your phone.
Doing Facebook or
there's
Instagram
nothing
or whatever.
that important on your phone in that minute unless you're figuring out a calculus problem on the. You can't even do that on the calculator you have in the. Well, maybe you can download a calculator. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is that's why that dad did it. So the phone freezes because that's supposed to be the disappointment.
Sure,
if the kid was
okay.
off out in the street playing, hanging out, and the phone
Wouldn't
was over
even
here,
care.
he wouldn't care that the phone froze because he's not on it anyways. It's
Right.
the fact that the kid's like this anyways. Oh, dad texts, keep playing the game. That's rude.
Yeah.
That's rude.
If dad's like, hey, what time are you going to be home?
Sure. Yeah.
But
And
anyways.
Iris Rodriguez says that's a great idea. I'm not a parent, but I do have nieces and nephews. Love it.
Okay.
Glenn.
Iris Rodriguez, really quick. Shout out one more time. Let's show her the shoes.
Oh,
A little
yeah.
closer.
Oh,
Like the
Iris.
shoes. This
But
is-
don't get too close. They're scuffed.
Okay,
and
so
it
if
was,
you
like, kinda
guys-
raggedy on the side.
weren't watching Morning Blend this morning, Iris Rodriguez gave a little shout out to us. This is a shoe cam.
Oh.
This is shoe cam?
Okay. That's good music. And she said she really liked Cornelia's shoes. So we
Thanks,
showed them after the
Iris.
show.
Yeah.
Iris, thank you for watching us on Morning Blend 5 to 7 weekday mornings on
And
television.
sticking with us.
And being here on Extra Shot
She might need a
815.
treat of some sort.
Maybe a beer, California Soul.
Glenn McBurney Jr. Hello, Glenn.
Hi, Glenn.
We love Glenn.
do.
Glenn said, and with social media, it's in your face now. Bring back the 80s when life was simple.
But was
Kinda
it?
what
It
I
wasn't
was
really
back
simple in
then.
the 80s,
But was
though.
it?
Well,
You had 5 channels. You had to use that box to turn the TV.
That's
where
pretty
you flip
simple.
the
Right.
switch up and it was
But was
do-do-do-do-do.
That's pretty simple.
Girl, it was so archaic.
Now think about it. When you're at a stoplight and you're in the passenger in a car, I get stir crazy. I'm like, because it's like I need to be multitasking. You know,
Yeah.
like there's always so much that you feel like you need to be doing.
You watched Game of Thrones, the last episode, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there was a scene. You don't have to watch it to understand what I'm about to say, but there was a scene, and no spoilers here, but there was a scene where a dragon was involved, and there's a message that needs to get back to Khaleesi. Well, they're miles away. It's snowing, so you can barely even like stand. And he's like, this is Jon Snow saying, go tell Khaleesi X, Y, and Z. Well, he has to run in the snow however many miles to Khaleesi just to say, hey, they're in danger. I was like, you know what? If they just had a cell phone, that would be a whole lot easier.
They had a raven. The raven was kind of like they had
the raven. They had the raven, but gosh, I think things were harder back then.
Good point.
Yeah,
Things weren't simpler.
I'd say
they were harder.
going to college, I had to get into the journalism school at Oregon, there were 5 prerequisite courses, and one of them was called Info Hell. It was information gathering was the technical term for it, but we all called it Info Hell, and you had to write a 100-page thesis as a freshman or sophomore in college just to get into the J school, right?
Good.
And you had to have 25 sources. Only 5 of them could be from the internet. So we had to find 20 interviewing people, journalistic, studies, going through the science journals, going through the books, going through the articles and the magazines, and it was a challenge, and it was really difficult. And that was at a time when I didn't even have my phone in class the whole time because
Right.
the iPhone was like
Social
just
wasn't
coming
where
out.
it's at now.
Yeah, and so, but now it's like, do people even know how to go to the library and study
I don't know. I'd like
anymore?
you to check in on that class to see if the syllabus has changed.
I think they got rid of it. Thanks, Oregon. But I
Did
will.
they?
I will gladly say that I got 1 of 2 A's that day. That course.
Oh yes, you
You
did.
got
Of
something
course
brown
you
on your nose, though. I can see it's a little something brown
No,
on your
I
nose.
had a scholarship that I had to keep. Otherwise, I was bye-bye from Oregon. So anyway.
Oh, I love this conversation. Okay.